This has been one Christmas in Connecticut to remember for stranded passengers who finally find themselves on a flight to Florida.
Live from WFSB Channel 3, you're watching Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock.
Good evening, I'm Don Lark.
And I'm Virginia Chow in for Janet Peckinpah. The Florida shuttle is flying again with some people aboard who've been booked since Friday.
Those passengers apparently stranded by a breakdown involving a single plane. Channel 3's Diane Alverio is standing by with late details and a live report from Bradley. Diane?
Well, Don, it's been an eventful day for passengers on the Florida shuttle here at Bradley International Airport. Thinking they were safe after the airline's weekend problems, the passengers arrived with a few questions, but there weren't very many answers.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't tell you they're going to be on time. We called before we left, and now we get here and got to kill all day over here.
After hearing news reports about Florida shuttle's flight delays this weekend, Sebastian Mazzata thought he had taken all the right precautions to ensure a smooth trip today, only to be among the many passengers arriving at Bradley, not only to find a delay, but conflicting stories as to what was causing it.
The funny thing is, this is like the third different story we've heard since we've gotten here. I mean, there's something funny going on here, definitely. These fly-by-night operations, they don't stick around that long, so you never know what's going to happen.
Florida Shuttle, a small charter company which offers daily no-frills service to West Palm Beach, began having difficulties on Friday with long delays. Then on Saturday, their plane was grounded with mechanical problems until late last night, stranding hundreds of Christmas travelers. But the airline assured everyone their operation would be back to normal today. Then more bad news for passengers. But the plane's not even in Connecticut yet.
No.
Has it left West Palm?
It's due to depart anytime. If it didn't already depart, it leaves there. It was supposed to leave around 11 o'clock.
Is this the first time you've had a delay like this?
Yes.
The first about 3 days.
Yeah, we started off on Christmas Eve, and then it's gotten just stayed that way.
Throughout most of the morning, it was unclear if there would be a flight at all. Finally, the plane landed at Bradley at about 2:30. We were kept away from the gate by an airport employee who later told us it was per orders of the Florida Shuttle Company. A few disgruntled passengers on board, however, came out to talk with us.
We're waiting for the plane to land. It was coming in from one of the islands. It looked like there was about 50, 75 people in the ground. They aborted the landing again. So it's a real scary flight.
Now, let me point out that the Florida Shuttle Company did help provide, provided hotel accommodations and meals for the stranded passengers over the weekend. They've also given those passengers Saturday and Sunday that were stranded free round-trip tickets to use on Florida Shuttle later on. And after some of those passengers arrived from West Palm and made those allegations of their concerns about the safety on the airline, we did go to the ticket counter. No one was available from Florida Shuttle to speak with us. Don in Virginia?
Well, Diane, do we know, is everything back on schedule now?
Gosh, that is the question, and still no answers. That's what folks were told last night. That's what folks were told today. There's a lot of nervous folks. The reservation agents over here having a hard time because they don't have very many answers to explain what's going on to the passengers, Don, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
Well, maybe over the next couple of days it might be a good idea to phone ahead rather than go out to the airport first.
That's right.
All right, thanks, Diane. Well, tonight it appears Connecticut's frosty weather may be around at least till Friday. Temperatures are still in the low teens and 20s before you factor in the wind chill, which makes it feel like 20 below zero. Many area shelters are at or near capacity in the dangerously cold conditions that call for lots of warm clothing and a dose of common sense to make it through. Connecticut apparently not alone in this deep freeze, Virginia.
No, not at all. All over the nation, folks are feeling the effects of the icy fingers of winter. Take a look at Cleveland, Ohio, coming up right here, where snow has fallen up to 15 inches in some suburbs. The ice and snow drifts closed at least one highway Sunday, and state police have had their hands full with accidents and disabled motorists. Meanwhile, in Syracuse, New York, temperatures, without taking the wind into account, got down to 10 below last night. The cold isn't unexpected in northern New York, but Syracuse is considered to be America's snowiest big city. One resident was quoted as saying, "We don't count years to retirement, we count winters." And speaking of winters in New England, it is very cold here, and a lot of people probably wondering, how long is this going to last?
Well, a pretty good question, and Bruce DePrest certainly standing by in the Channel 3 New England Weather Service with an answer or two. Bruce?
Well, down in Virginia, I'm afraid we're not going to get above freezing until perhaps Friday at the very earliest, when we'll see temperatures get up into the 30s. In the meantime, we're going to stay in this deep freeze. Now, we started out around 0 in many locations this morning and never got out of the teens during the course of the afternoon. Luckily, we didn't have much in the way of wind, and a good thing we're not going to be dealing with much in the way of wind the next couple of days. These are actual temperatures now, not factoring in the wind. Teens in southern New England. Up in northern New England, temperatures already below 0. Some spots never got above 0 this afternoon. For example, Caribou, Maine right now is 13 below 0 with a wind chill of minus 44. And you have to go all the way down to North Carolina to find anything that resembles mild weather, where temperatures now are in the 50s. That cold air is going to stay with us for another 2 or 3 days before things start to moderate just a little bit. Got some clouds along Connecticut shoreline right now, which may hold temperatures up a little bit, but much of New England will have clear skies tonight, and that's going to allow temperatures to drop once again down to 0 and even lower, especially up in northern New England. I'll have a full frigid forecast coming your way in just a few minutes. Back to you, Don, Virginia.
All right, thank you, Bruce. A carjacking at a McDonald's restaurant in Hartford causing some heart-stopping moments today for a parent who had left her child in that car. Just before 11:30 this morning, a Manchester woman was picking up her order at the drive-thru of the Washington Street McDonald's. She discovered something wrong with her order and parked her car, leaving her 5-year-old daughter inside while she went into the restaurant to straighten things out.
As she left the restaurant, she found her car backing up, and her 5-year-old daughter had been removed from the car and was placed on the ground.
Was the little girl okay?
There were no injuries. The little girl was fine. The vehicle was recovered on Babcock Street about 20 minutes later.
Channel 3's Brian Garnett reports the suspect is identified as an Hispanic man in his 20s. Police say this should be a lesson not to leave your kids alone, even for a moment. Well, volunteer firefighter Michael Curley, who lost both his parents in a fire at his house in Orange earlier this month, says the tragedy has not reduced his commitment to saving other lives. Curley's father, Raymond, was a retired police officer who died while trying to save his wife. The couple had moved to Florida but were visiting their son for the holiday. Curley says his dad saved many lives while on the job and would be proud of his decision to stay with the volunteer fire department.
Well, we usually think of President Clinton as taking shots at senators or congressmen, but this time it was ducks. The president and 8 others braved the 16-degree temperatures this morning to hunt ducks on Taylor's Island, Maryland. Clinton said they only saw one, shot at one, and got one. He credits Oklahoma Congressman Bill Brewster with the shot. One animal rights demonstrator did picket, though, outside the farm. Meanwhile, as the president took a shot at ducks, economists took a shot at grading his handling of the economy, giving him a B for his work. 50% of those polled gave him that grade, which is better than the 9% that gave George Bush a B last year. Clinton did get an A from 5% of the economists, while none gave Bush that top mark. But despite Clinton's good grade, it's something of a turnaround during the presidential election. 63% had said Bush would do a better job with the economy.
Israeli and PLO negotiators met today in Cairo, but neither side is saying what happened in the meeting, which lasted about an hour. They're attempting to reach an agreement on Israeli withdrawal from Jericho and the Gaza Strip. There is widespread speculation that Israel is prepared to double the amount of land it's willing to give up around Jericho. The Russian school children held hostage for 5 days are released. Their kidnappers are captured in the Caucasus Mountains after a shootout with members of Russia's top anti-terrorist unit. The 4 kidnappers hijacked a helicopter and made off with $10 million in U.S. currency. Initially, they had demanded safe passage to Iran, but police now believe all they wanted was the money paid by the Russian government. Some of that money was apparently scattered through the woods when the hijackers threw it from the helicopter before landing and trying to escape on foot.
With Christmas now behind us, it's time to give a big thanks to everyone who came out and donated needed items to the Channel 3 WTIC radio holiday stores. The response was overwhelming, with final tallies showing that you doubled the number of food items donated over last year. You more than doubled the donations of toys and clothes, and the nearly $80,000 you gave was almost $17,000 more than the year before. Thanks to you, Christmas was a bit brighter for lots of families.
Well, kids and parents are never going to forget that help.
No,
that
they're
came
not.
in. That's
They're
terrific.
really not.
Well, still ahead at 5, if you're looking for some entertainment ideas for the kids during Christmas vacation, well, the movies is always a good place to go. But is Beethoven second a winner or a dog? Dan Kain has a review coming up on the Pop Watch.
Also coming up, a fire ignites after a plane makes its landing last night. We'll have that story.
But first, let's check in with Dana Polsky on the traffic situation tonight. Daniel?
Good afternoon. In the Hartford area, a couple of earlier problems on 84 have left a lot of traffic, especially eastbound. Approaching exit 46, pretty much out through exit 58, 91 northbound. We have a disabled vehicle in the right lane. Just south of exit 27, state police working to clear that as well. No unusual problems coming from the New Haven area on 95, 91 on the Whipple Cross. They're pretty quiet down there. Waterbury also checks out in good shape on Route 8 and 84. From the Loctite Command Van, I'm Dana Polsky with a chance of traffic check.
This diet gimmick promised to knock off the pounds, but it didn't warn about the surprise extra load you'd be gaining. Don't miss a special 3 on Your Side update Monday at 5:30.
Remember when we took you behind the walls of this prison? If you couldn't believe what you saw then, take another look. Monday on Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 6.
Tonight's To Your Health is sponsored by CVS, today's neighborhood drugstore.
These flames surrounding one of the engines on this Delta Airlines 727 forced the plane to make an emergency landing in Oklahoma City last night. No one was hurt, but leaking fuel caught fire and burned some of the grassy area on the runway. Delta says mechanical problems led to the fire on Flight 619 en route from Atlanta to Tulsa.
Well, there's new hope tonight for a common but rarely mentioned problem that can affect about half of all women. Denise DeCenzo has that story and more in tonight's To Your Health report.
It's a problem that many people don't like to talk about, urinary incontinence. But tonight there's important information. Now there is a new treatment besides surgery and drugs. It's biofeedback, and it's changing lives. For Barbie Jackson, the problem began after her first child was born and quickly changed her daily routines.
I would be in the middle of shopping and have to stop and wait until that urge would pass.
As a treatment for urinary incontinence, Barbie decided to strengthen and train the muscles that control her bladder.
The federal government has recently come out with recommendations that a program involving biofeedback, exercises at home, be tried before medicine and before surgery. It should never be something that's just accepted. 10 seconds resting, 10 seconds working.
3 times a week for 4 weeks, Barbie used biofeedback, concentrating hard to isolate the right muscle, then learning to control the muscle tension.
And you can see and measure the muscle strength.
Once the correct muscles are identified, tightening and strengthening exercises can be done at home or most anywhere.
If they do not want to regress, this is a lifelong program that will take them 10 minutes at the most a day. But yes, they will have to keep doing these exercises.
Studies have found up to 90% of the women who do pelvic exercises have significant improvement.
It certainly makes a big difference. I mean, it changed the way I was able to live. Changed everything.
Some people may need a combination of biofeedback, surgery, medication, and exercise. Finally, our tip for living well. Want to help ensure a healthy 94? Make a resolution to eat more fruits and vegetables. Registered dietitian Sue Gibo of West Hartford says there are many ways to get your 5 a day. Include sliced raw vegetables in your lunch. Replace candy with moist and chewy dried fruits. Carry fruit with you for snacks. And try juices. 6 ounces of fruit or vegetable juice counts as one of your servings. I'm Denise DeCenzo, and that's To Your Health.
Tomorrow night, Denise will show us a new program that helps people cope with the loss of a pet. Stay with us.
And coming up tonight at 5:30, the headlines in the British papers today are all about a 59-year-old woman who gave birth to twins on Christmas Day. That shocking story has people talking today. And tonight, Mika Brzezinski looks at the advances in medicine that allowed this woman to have twins at 59, but also asks the question, should this be happening? She'll have our story.
Still ahead at 5, the malls were packed until the last minutes before Christmas. Tonight we find out how they actually did, the stores that is, for the holiday season. We'll have that story, plus Bruce with an ice-cold forecast. Stay with us.
It's an ice-cold forecast that we're looking forward to, so let's find out from Channel 3's Bruce DePrest what we have in store from the Channel 3 New England Weather Service.
Yes, Bruce standing by with late details. He told us it's going to be awfully cold for the next several days. Bruce?
That's right. We are in a deep freeze, and I don't expect temperatures to get above freezing until Friday at the very earliest. So we got a long haul with temperatures below freezing. It certainly was a cold day out and about in southern New England. We have a weather snapshot for you from Newington, where John Lindgren was out loading up a dump truck in the cold, frigid weather. Temperatures just in the teens today, despite a good deal of sunshine. So we were indeed in some true Arctic air today. And look where we're at right now. And keep in mind, Hartford and New Haven are some of the warmer spots around the area. 16 in Hartford, New Haven 17. Dew points are well below zero, and the air is bone dry. We have a light north to northwest wind, so wind won't be much of a factor tonight or for the next couple of days, although temperatures will stay quite chilly. Our satellite picture is showing that we are dealing with some clouds. We got a pretty good cloud band from the Midwestern states all the way to pretty much coastal sections of Connecticut right now. We'll be on the northern fringe of those clouds tonight, so if we do happen to get a good cloud cover, most likely across southern Connecticut, that's going to hold temperatures up just a little bit, but much of the area is going to be mostly clear, and once again, that will allow temperatures to drop to near zero or below. How about tomorrow morning's commute for the Metro North train system, which runs into New York City? If you're going to be heading that way, expect a lot of clouds. Again, the shoreline is going to be on the northern fringe of those clouds tomorrow morning. Bone-chilling temperatures, just 10 to 15 degrees around 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So dress warmly, although, again, you're not going to be dealing with much in the way of wind. Now, tomorrow morning, the sun rises at 7:18. Sunset tomorrow is at 4:27. The length of day in terms of daylight on December 28th is 9 hours and 9 minutes. And believe it or not, that represents a gain of 2 minutes since winter began on the 21st. So we are heading in the right direction, but we do have a long haul before we start noticing an increase in the daylight hours. So tomorrow, still a very short day. And again, sunrise for you commuters at 7:18. Very cold. A good thing that kids get to sleep in early tomorrow morning. When you get up tomorrow morning, cold air in place. We'll have a system, a weather front to our south, the boundary line between Arctic air and mild air in the deep south. But by Wednesday morning, we're going to see low pressure start to move toward the coastline along that front. And this system could come along to give us some snow late Wednesday and Wednesday night. Then by Thursday, it moves way out to sea and reinforces the cold air once again. Now, right now, we're not looking at a big storm for late Wednesday or Wednesday night, but we could possibly get some accumulating snow, which would be good for all the kids on vacation this week. Let's take a look at the forecast details then for tonight. Expect partly cloudy skies inland along the shoreline, mostly cloudy, 5 below to 5 above inland, near 10 degrees along the shoreline. And then for tomorrow, partly sunny day, 18 to 23 inland, 20 to 25 at the coast. A cold day, but again, we'll have light winds. And on the 5-day planner, we're going to throw a snow symbol in there for late Wednesday and Wednesday night. And then there is some good news for Friday and Saturday. That's when we should see temperatures get back up to freezing and above. But it seems like Friday is a long way off.
So a little good news then at the end of the week.
A little good news. We have to wait for it, though.
Nice to see you thinking about the kids, Bruce.
That's right. My kids are waiting for that snow, so we're hoping for Wednesday.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Well, a happy holiday for retailers and a big day on Wall Street. The stories are topping tonight's business briefs. There are no hard numbers yet, but Connecticut retail merchants figure that overall sales were up this holiday season by about 8% from last year. Clothes, books, toys, and jewelry led the way. Merchants attribute the improvement to good weather and increased consumer confidence. The Ford Motor Company increasing its management role at Mazda, where sales are slumping. Ford is a nearly 25% owner of Mazda and will now take a bigger hand in company operations by appointing an executive vice president and other officials. On Wall Street, a year-end rally propels the Dow Jones to a record close in moderate trading. The Dow gains more than 35 points to close at nearly 3793 on trading volume of about 172 million shares. General Electric is among the big gainers, up 1 3/8 on the day, while Duracell was up a point. Only a couple of the local stocks we follow gave up any ground today. Stanley Works was off 1/8, and Loctite was down 1/4. And no more flashing lights for police escorts when celebrities visit the Foxwoods Casino in Ledyard. A change in policy after a Ledyard woman complained that she was forced to pull over when a police escort with flashing lights brought Frank Sinatra to the casino last month. So we'll do it her way.
Yes, she did. And when we come back, maybe some of your kids will have it their way. Most kids do have the week off from school.
Many parents are looking for things for the kids to do while they're home. Beethoven Second is one of the new movies out. Dan Kain with a review on the Pop Watch coming up.
coming up on the next Entertainment Tonight. Critics are saying that John Candy is sizzling in bacon. Canadian bacon, that is. That's the name of his new political comedy. And E.T. has a behind-the-scenes look that will knock your socks right off the grill. Plus, Jenna Van Oy gossips on the hit show Blossom. And tonight, she gives the scoop on her castmates, including teen idol Joey Lawrence.
He's gotten bras and panties before. It's really scary.
All on the next E.T.
Weeknights at 7:30, right here on Channel 3.
Well, there's much more coming your way tonight on Eyewitness News 5:30. Dennis House is standing by in the Eyewitness Newsroom with a look ahead. Dennis?
Hi, Don. We have two unbelievable stories to tell you about at 5:30. First, a 59-year-old woman delivered twins over the weekend, making her the oldest woman ever to give birth. She did it with the help of science. But should doctors use the technology to let an older woman have children? Mika Brzezinski will have that story. Also tonight, a little boy who opened his Christmas presents early was found shackled to his bed. And in our 3 on Your Side report, Deb Kent shows us a diet that, well, may just not work. Those stories, plus weather and sports, coming up in about 5 minutes. Don?
Well, thanks a lot, Dennis. One children's holiday movie that seems to have serious staying power at the box office is Beethoven's second, now in its 3rd week. But as Kain tells us in tonight's Pop Watch, while the kids might find it mildly amusing, for adults it can be a long hour and a half.
Little Beethoven.
Don't tell your dad. Dad is Charles Grodin, back as the fumbling father of the Newton family, which last year got a St. Bernard named Beethoven, and this year has to deal with Beethoven's 4 puppies. I suspect when Grodin was offered the part in this dog of a dog movie, he said, "No, no, no, no! Do you think I'm crazy?" The story, if you can call it that, involves a litter of lovable St. Bernards that arrive as a result of the liaison between Beethoven and Missy, his girlfriend, and the kids' efforts to hide the pups, which takes up the first third of this film, but seems to go on forever. So Dad has to learn to deal with a house full of canines while life goes on around him, including a budding romance between his daughter, Nicole Tom, and Ashley Hamilton, son of actor George Hamilton and husband of 90210's Shannon Doherty.
And that's my dad.
Hi there. A movie like this needs some menace to keep it going, a threat to all the love and loveliness that's unfolding, and that is provided by Debbie Mazar.
Kiss the puppies goodbye, sweetheart, because you're never going to see them again.
Yikes, take away the puppies? What an evil thing to do. But fear not, folks, the menace here is minor, and the gags, what there are of them, are few and far between, leaving adults in the audience wondering, I suspect, how long it will be before their kids grow up and they don't have to sit through this sort of thing anymore.
What kind of a person takes puppies from kids?
What kind of person would take puppies from kids? Well, probably the same kind of people that make movies like this. It's the first Beethoven earned about $145 million, a little less than that, but it's virtually guaranteed that a sequel would happen. It's just a shame that the second time around it was sort of half-hearted. I feel like a Grinch, but the movie's it's a real nothing.
A dog?
A dog of a movie, yes, indeed.
The puppies are really cute, but then, so
an
not
hour
big
and a half, Virginia, an hour and a half of cute puppies?
Of cute puppies. So not really a big screen movie. How about videos?
Yeah, you could do it as a video, and then go do something else while the kids are watching.
Well, yeah, what do you think? The kids might like this, though?
But even the kids in the audience, Don, were sort of, half-hearted. They were trying. Everybody wanted to like the movie, but it just never got rolling.
It's too bad.
That is too bad.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do,
Find something else to take the kids to for this vacation.
Thank you, Daniel.
Good enough.
Well, thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock once again.
Yes, Dennis House is up next with Eyewitness News at 5:30.